Parliament today welcomed a prominent guest, US Vice President Joe Biden. He addressed MEPs in an official sitting of Parliament. Joe Biden was welcomed to Parliament by its President, Jerzy Buzek, before heading to the hemicycle to speak to a packed chamber. He called on Euro-parliamentarians to work for closer EU-US relations to defend the values of the Western world and to face together the challenges of our era. Considering terrorism to be the main threat facing the two sides, the American Vice President pleaded for support for the EU-US agreement which allows the US to access data on European bank transfers made under the SWIFT system. The day before his speech, Parliament agreed the conditions of a mandate to negotiate a new deal. Closing his speech, Biden underlined the importance of the transatlantic partnership in the following words.
Be assured that I, my government, my president, that we are back in the business of listening to our allies. Ladies and gentlemen, it's no accident that Europe was my first overseas destination as Vice President and also the President's. It is no accident that we've already returned several times since then. The United States needs Europe, and I respectfully submit, Europe needs the United States. We need each other more now than we have in ever.
Back in mid-February, MEPs rejected a proposed agreement with the US, which would have allowed them to access data on European bank transfers made under the SWIFT system. The agreement formed part of US anti-terrorism activities, but MEPs were concerned that it didn't respect fundamental privacy and data protection rights. A redrafted agreement was put on the table for this month's mini-plenary session in Brussels. MEPs also voted on a proposal on transferring air passengers' data to the US and Australia, the so-called PNR or Passenger Name Records proposal. Both agreements were adopted by MEPs. A delegation of EPP Group MEPs was in Washington for talks on SWIFT at the end of April. Austrian MEP Ernst Strasser was one of them.
We know that the left never want to have a negotiation with the states, so it's the duty of the EPP group, because we want to have a good relationship to the states, we want to have a good partnership, we want to work with them, and we want to fight terrorism together. So we need this contract, but we need this in our terms.
EPP TV published a full report on the SWIFT negotiations this week. You may also have seen our report in mid-March on the EU's new 2015.EU digital agenda. Pilar del Castillo drafted the resolution on the new strategy for harnessing and developing new digital technologies in a bid to increase Europe's competitiveness. She called for fundamental revision of existing legislation, which doesn't take into account the huge advances made in the sector.
Well, for the European means to have a guideline, very precise, very pragmatic, very practical, that could extremely help Europe to fully seize all the opportunities of the digital era. I think that will be a real good chance for really getting the best of the possibilities that this new digital society, which we are now in, this kind of train, high-speed train with non-stop, and Europe must be on board.
At the very moment that massive protests were taking place in Athens, the Greek capital, in opposition to the austerity plan adopted by the government there, the European Parliament debated the Greek crisis and the future Eurozone policies needed to prevent the instability of Europe's currency. Everyone in the chamber agreed that the rescue plan for Greece, although tough, was inevitable. But Commission President José Manuel Barroso and EPP Group Chairman Joseph Daul argued in favour of economic governance in the Eurozone to strengthen stability and economic growth.
I see two main strands for reflection and action. First, a reassessment of the rules for economic governance, including the Stability and Growth Pact. Second, financial markets reform. The Commission has been working intensively on economic governance and is ready to present its proposals on how to improve it next Wednesday. There are three main building blocks to be considered. First, responsibility. We need to reinforce the Stability and Growth Pact and, above all, Member States' compliance. Second, interdependence. We are all in this together. I think the crisis has clearly shown that we need to address the imbalances between our member states, in particular within the euro area. Third, coherence. We have to ask ourselves whether our system of fiscal rules is complete. I see merit in creating a permanent mechanism for dealing with disruptive situations. After all, it is better to be safe than sorry.
The time has now come for Europeans to learn from these events and call for major reforms in European governance. Reforms so that our member states no longer decide alone without consultation with their partners with whom they share a common currency and values and therefore a common destiny. I believe that Europe is entering a moment of truth. I propose to address these challenges with courage and a sense of responsibility, like the founding fathers.
There are two major challenges facing Europe today: climate change and sustainable competitiveness. At the end of April, the European Commission set out a new strategy on clean and energy-efficient vehicles. It focused specifically on the long-term potential of electric cars in contributing to both of these goals. European Commissioner for Industry and Entrepreneurship, Antonio Tajani, was in plenary to discuss the strategy with MEPs.
In our communication we have two pillars. The first pillar is traditional car for tomorrow, but for the day after tomorrow is important a new strategy in favor of electric cars, hybrid cars, hydrogen cars. We are working not only for new cars, but we are working for infrastructure. Without infrastructure it's impossible.
The strategy calls for European standards for electric mobility to ensure that customers buying cars across Europe will be able to charge them in any member state. It also deals with safety standards. Some MEPs are worried that because the cars are so silent, there will be an increase in accidents with pedestrians. The strategy will make an important contribution to the overall Europe 2020 strategy for growth and jobs. The cleaner cars will not only emit less CO2, but will also open a market for new skills and jobs. Ivo Belet, an EPP member from Belgium, called in plenary for an action plan from the Commission on training Europeans with the new skills required in what will be an increasingly important and growing market. He also asked that research on new battery technology be funded under the Commission's research framework programmes. Finally, he emphasised the importance of standardisation in ensuring that rather than getting left behind, Europe becomes a market leader in electric cars and infrastructure.
Commissioner, Chairman, colleagues, we have here a unique opportunity to give employment in Europe a strong push and to avoid being flooded with products with parts of Chinese origin. It is not yet too late to avoid this. Thank you.
That's all for this session, but we'll be back later this month with news from the plenary session in Strasbourg. To keep up to date in the meantime, visit our website, eppgroup.eu. Thanks for watching.